Alright, I'm back, and I kind of skipped part of the progression for this character because it only lasted a little while. I skipped the CI swap because I ended up going into int stacking pretty quickly. And I want to say before I go further with this, if you plan on int stacking at all this league, buy your synth bases now, or as soon as you can. Get your ring implicits, get your amulet implicit, get your belt implicit, do it now, and preferably do your wand craft right now too, because awakener orbs are very cheap. I paid 3 divine per ring. I paid 1 divine for the amulet and 1 divine for the belt, for the bases. Awakener orb at the time of my wand was 4 DC. That was earlier today. The clusters were like 10 C each, and then I spent like 1500 alterations on them, so whatever that comes out to. And on top of that, the essences for crafting, the spite essences right now are 2 C each. If you played int stacking last league, you know that isn't going to last long. So I highly advise, if you have the currency now to invest it all, do it now. It's the best time to do it. But with that out of the way, I did my int stack swap already, and this is basically as budget as you can be with int stacking. I put in maybe 12D so far into just the int stacking stuff, and so immediately I'll just run a map. This is the map. This is the atlas I'm using. It's kind of scuffed, but it's just expedition and altars with some scarabs and shrines. That's about it. And I have officially swapped to Kinetic Rain of Impact. It does finally feel better. This is what I speculated was going to be the case, that once you start instacking, get a good amount of damage, then it will start feeling better. To use Kinetic Rain of Impact, which also means I'm using Sacred Wisps, because it works with that really well. Where's my indicator? It's not... Whatever.
Approach, challenger.
And there's quite a few things to talk about once I'm out of this map. I like how all the assets aren't loading. It's been perfect all day, but as soon as I start recording, it's like not even a video game anymore.
Help me!
Absolute classic.
Unleash destruction!
Honestly, I don't even need to move, I can just sit here.
Nearly done! For Ragnar!
Okay, so that's a map. The damage is relatively similar to the character I was running before I went to instacking, but the level of defense is incredible, as instacking normally is. just getting this 13k energy shield, and because the int is so high, the evasion goes way up too, so it's 30k without flask and it's 44 with flask. So the evasion feels tremendously better, and the ghost dance recovery feels even better. So, alright, I'm gonna go over the gear because it's the most important thing first and foremost. So I'm gonna go over the synth items first that I picked up. So I spent very little. I think I did 19 essences of spite in total for all 4 synth pieces. And they're not insanely good synth pieces or anything like that, but they're plenty good enough for me. This is the amulet. Has the essence int, a little bit of spell damage, that's nice. And then it had crit multi on it. I'm like, alright, I'll just settle on crit multi because that's a tier 1 crit multi, sounds good. I'll just craft the ES on it, and then that's decent for the time being amulet. And obviously you anoint Tranquility, which by the way, oils are really cheap right now. It only costs like 60c to anoint this. This is one of the rings. Rings are basically identical, honestly, just this one has strength. It's got the essence int, it's got the T1 ES, some all res, and then I just crafted some flat lightning. And basically the same case here, it just has strength. So it's like the same item. And then the belt, very similar. Just has the T1 ES, and then it has a res. So these things are plenty good enough for now. But later, I have 2 helmets, both of which I want to use. One or the other, probably this one. But my helmet's giving me a lot of resistance right now, so I can't afford to take it off. But that'll be a huge boost in defense. It's like another 500 ES and 55 int, so that'll be big. Oh yeah, then this is the helmet. I guess you can look at the helmet. This is the one I was wearing before too, but yeah. And then these boots are new boots that I made. I made this before I int stacked. This was for when I CI swapped, and I just happened to craft these. I'm pretty sure I didn't buy them. I think it was Reforged Defense on the base, and got int and good enough ES rolls. So those are the boots. I just made these gloves earlier. I got this fracture from the tree and used probably like 50 spite essences. These ones were not willing to roll well for me, and this is what I ended up landing on. It's pretty good. Nothing to complain about. And the shield is the same, I think, as the one I had in the previous update. Which is a decent shield. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. There's an open suffix, so it's a little bit malleable. It was doing resistances for me before. The body armor hasn't changed, and this won't change for a long time, because it's just very good. And then the wand. So this thing, right now, I need to save up 2 divines. I'm pretty poor. I've been spending all my money on the character. It needs to be prefix locked again and veiled chaos orbed. And then I'm almost guaranteed, it's like almost a guarantee to get this crit chance node or the attack speed node, or a node affix, and then I craft the other, and then this wand will be like way better. It's like right now this is pretty dog shit. It's like the bare minimum. And I'm gonna say this now just because I'm gonna probably have to reiterate this in my deep dive that's gonna come up too, but like this, because imbued wands are gone, when you're doing your wand craft, please make sure that the kinetic wand, because it has to be kinetic wand, you can't, any other base isn't worth doing this on, because this is the new imbued wand, it has the same stats as the imbued did. Make sure that you have, when you're rolling both wands, like see how this one is one that I was rolling before, make sure that the kinetic wand is the one that has the attack damage, the attack modifier on it, the per 10 intelligence attack mod on it, because it can't roll the other one. So do Hunter or Shaper on the kinetic wand and roll the attack modifier, and then the other wand that you slam into the kinetic wand, have that one roll the spell damage, because you just can't get the spell damage on the kinetic wand. But just putting that out there now. Don't sit there and waste all your alterations being like, why am I never finding the modifier? Because you can't find it. But yeah, so this wand is pretty dog shit. It's as basic as it gets. So like everything about this character is like as budget as instacking can get, right? So Those are the gear pieces. All of my gems are basically the same, except I changed my main links. So obviously I went to Impact, and so I put on Sacred Wisps, and then I took off Elemental Damage with Attacks, and got Awakened Lightning Pen. So those are the differences here. And I'll say now that I think GMP will be taken off. It's actually possible that it's better to take it off now and put a different support gem. It's very possible. I don't think I'm going to bother testing it because I know for a fact that when I get Dying Sun, GMP is going to come off no matter what. So I'll just wait until I have Dying Sun. So that's the gear. That's pretty simple stuff. I'll show the grafts too. I got a new one of these. It's a level 30 Wreaths in Light, so it gives 16 to 245 added, which is way better. And then the passives on the actual graft are a lot better too. 50% lightning damage is pretty good. 1 to 18 lightning damage, whatever. I'll just note now that there are percent intelligence grafts out there, but at my current level of intelligence, it's better for me to be running 50% increased lightning damage than it is to be running 4% increased, 4% increased intelligence. This is better for the time being. But once you have like 2000 intelligence, somewhere around there, then the 4% int's going to be better. And the other one is just one that had a bunch of lightning on it, so I clicked it. Now, if you're wondering, there is another graft that gives you a buff when you crit that stacks 10 times. It can give you like 30% more on your top end damage, which is huge. That's a big deal. But it also makes you take 10% more damage. And I don't think I'm quite at the point yet where I'd be willing to take 10% more damage for that. But it will come. This character will get to that point where it becomes worthy to wear that. But yeah, that'll be a big boost to damage. It synergizes with volatility and lightning damage so well. So that will absolutely... And you can get one that, I think, has a modifier that can give you crit multi per stack too. So it's going to be a good one. But for now, this is what I have. And the tree, this is what it looks like now. It's pretty scuffed. This is like set up in a way that it's meeting my stat requirements. So I'm running just like a random brutal restraint to get the dex that I need to wear all my dex related stuff, which is most of my stuff. The cluster jewels I made, like I said, this took about 1500 alterations to make both. This was the first one I made, and obviously it would love to be divined and get that 6 to 8, but I'm not worried about that right now. This is the other one. Very similar, just has mana instead of 2 alt attributes. As for the other jewels, I was making sure to hit my dex cap again, because I have no dex on like any of my items, and I don't want to have any dex on my items in terms of like the crafted stuff. So they basically all have dex and other stats that are good. I think I paid, this was the most expensive one. I paid 30C for this one because it has 4 stats that are really good. This one was 15C, I think. This one I made myself earlier in the league, and I should probably replace it, but it is doing a little bit of elemental resistance work for me, so, and global crit multi. This one is pretty dog shit and should be replaced. Nothing really good about it, just decent damage. As for, I think, okay, that's all the jewels. And then differences in the tree. I came over here, I grabbed this because now I'm running Flesh and Stone. A little more tankiness. I think eventually Discipline will get fit in somehow, but it's not very important. I unspec'd all of this stuff, so I'm down a power charge, down a jewel socket. I had to unspec this leech because I started speccing this leech and stuff, so and I don't have the frenzy thing, so no more frenzies for the time being. And obviously you can't use Blood Rage because you can't use Blood Rage when you are ES only. And that's kind of it for the tree. Nothing really special going on here. I'm sure there's like some things that I changed, but like this is maybe something is, I don't know. It's you can just look at the POV if you need to see it. So that's like all the gear and the tree and the gems. I need to do some working around with the gems here because I'm still holding on to Blood Rage. I gotta figure out like some other stuff to do here, but we'll get there. So here is the POB. There's a few things to talk about here. The first thing I want to mention is that I'm not running Shaper of Flames. And it's very important for me to emphasize here that this is going to be entirely dependent on how you think your character should be in the moment. Are you needing damage or are you needing defense against physical damage? If you need defense against physical damage, then you take Shaper of Flames. But if you want a smoother mapping experience and want more damage, I suggest using the Spectral Tigers. I started using this today. It's really nice. I like it a lot. Gives you 125% crit chance and 32% attack speed. Feels really good. So that's that. And as for how I'm calculating the damage, I'm being pretty conservative here. So it says 12 mil, and this is in the best case scenario, by the way. It probably on average is actually 5 mil, somewhere around there. But this is like best case scenario. Like you have your sigil down, you have all your stages, you are standing in your Wreathed in Light buff. You have all your charges and everything. Which, by the way, I should take off frenzies because I'm not getting them right now. But I'm assuming 4 overlaps, which I think is conservative. I think it's probably more like 5 or 6 currently. But just in case, I'm going 4. Obviously that changes depending on how many monsters are in the area, whether it's like just a single target guy just sitting there, whatever. So that's what I'm assuming for damage. And as for the config, like I said, this is like kind of a perfect scenario type of thing. Here's the buffs for the Bloodline Ascendancy because it does not automatically work in POB. This is the Graft skill, the Wreathed in Light. And you can see how big of a difference this makes. It's like 4 million DPS difference. I have Intimidate on my gloves. They're obviously exposed because the gloves implicit, and then they're shocked. And you always have 50% shock. I don't know if it's... Okay, it is calculating that already. It's always 50%. And... yeah, Sand Stance, all that stuff. This is just the calculations here. And I guess that's kind of all there is to talk about right now, but what's going to happen in the future is I'm probably not going to make another actual just character update, and it's more than likely that the next thing you'll see from me is going to be the deep dive. But just keep in mind that I will never, ever, ever make a deep dive for a character that has not killed every single Uber and has not run the most difficult strats in the game. Well, with some exceptions. Like last league, I used Abyss Risk as my thing, even though like Alva or Blight was much harder. But there isn't really those strats right now anyway, so just like T17 juicing will be like the threshold there. So it's gonna be a while. Probably like at least another week. Maybe less. Depends on my luck. But yeah, once I have the build at that point is when I'll be comfortable with the deep dive, and you'll see everything, all of my findings laid out perfectly organized, and it'll essentially feel like it's a written guide in video form. Yeah, so that's instacking. Again, I'm just going to tell you, get your items now. The stuff you're going to craft, get the bases now if you can. You're going to want to do that. Yeah, as for now, just a quick little update. Like I said, maybe I'll make another update, like if I feel there's something worthy of talking about. But yeah, for now, that's all, and I'll see you in the next one.